Hey everybody, welcome back, fellow adult collectors, G.I. Joe aficionados. David E. on here, and the lovely and talented Miss Lady Pop Hunter behind the camera. Hello, how you doing? Here with another G.I. Joe Journey installment. Of course, if you've been following along, and if you haven't, this is where we take vintage G.I. Joe pieces and add them to the collection. And it could be from any of the old eras of G.I. Joe, but more so, I keep finding really good deals on ARAH pieces. More specifically, just recently at the Retro Toy Swap in Powder Springs, where I found a lot of carded figures. And for the prices they were asking, I couldn't pass it up. And I would like to find some more of the classic, like 60s and 70s Joes like you see sitting up there, but don't always find the best deals on those, unfortunately. But on ARAH pieces, I keep nailing it. And you see we've got our carded ones here, and there are some gaps, and we will be filling those gaps today because I've got them in order of year and appearance on file card hanging up there. But we'll go ahead and we'll get started here, get to the point. And we're going to start off with Frostbite from Battle Corps. And this is an older Joe. A lot of people don't like ARAH after like 1989. I think 87 to 89 is where most people cut it off, and then they started doing like Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat Joes, if you will, and stuff like this, like Battle Corps. But I don't mind that at all. You can also see they got cheaper with the equipment because it's on a tree instead of like loose specialized equipment. That was, a lot of the figures had the same weapons but in different color schemes. But this is Frostbite from 1992. And we'll go ahead and take a look at the back of the card here. You can see the file card. And I'm not above getting early 90s ARAH era figures. And this is just before the transition to Sergeant Savage, which was a 5-inch figure instead of 3 3/4 inches. And it wasn't very popular, and you can still actually find Sergeant Savage pretty cheap, those figures. I think they're highly underrated. And next after that, of course, was G.I. Joe Extreme. And those are terrible figures. And vintage or not, I don't see myself collecting those. But I can deal with Sergeant Savage. Next up is Dial Tone. And these are all mint on the card again. I don't think he's going to fit in this one. We get a smaller one here. And this is a Fun School card. Fun School card, made in China. And even though I used to have an extensive carded and boxed G.I. Joe collection, all of my pieces were American versions. So this is actually my first time with a carded foreign figure. And once again, for the price, I just couldn't pass it up. And I believe these were from Russia, if I'm not mistaken. Isn't Fun School from Russia? Someone can tell me in the comment section down below. And that is Dial Tone. Still with excellent artwork. We'll turn him around here. He has a tree also. So he got the cheap tree accessory pack, but the artwork is great. The card, however, is flimsy. The card is about the same size as a traditional G.I. Joe card. It's a little, just a hair smaller, but it's very, very thin. It's like cereal box cardboard thin. And more foreign ones. And these, I believe, are Japanese carded, and that is Breaker. It says Communications Officer. Actually, let me switch this back. It says Communications Officer, but of course we all know that is Breaker. And aside from where it says Communications Officer and some Hasbro details at the very bottom, that's pretty much the only thing on this card, front or back, that is in English. And the rest of it is all in Japanese, apparently. Oh, also, I didn't point out but I guess the file card on the back of the foreign Fun School card is, it looks like it's still pretty detailed, but when we get to the file card on these Japanese carded ones, it doesn't look like there's very much information, and I thought that was interesting. What is the year on this? I think these were released in '86, weren't they? I think these might be 1986. We'll turn this around so you can take a look at the back. But you see how there doesn't appear to be very much information on the back. However, I could be wrong, because a lot of times with the type of language structure used, a symbol can be a whole word. So again, I can't translate this directly, so I don't know exactly what it says. And not to be outdone, of course, we have also buzzer, and it simply says Dreadnought on the front, and it probably says buzzer in Japanese, but I can't read it. I'm again assuming these are Japanese cards. And I noticed also, I think it's interesting, all of the Cobras are on red cards, and all of the Joes are on blue cards. And if you remember the Sunbow cartoon, the Joes, all of their weaponry fired red bolts, and all of the Cobra weaponry fired blue bolts. So it was completely opposite. And so far, all of these cards have been pretty nice. The Frostbite card was a little dirty, but you know, that's nothing I can't fix. One thing I'm going to run into a problem with Frostbite is that his card is taller, because this is about the same size and thickness as a traditional American card. It's just painted up differently. But the breaker card is much taller, so it's not going to fit in a traditional clamshell. And I'll show you one here in a moment, the clamshells that I intend to use to hang these with. Which I have some right here, and these are from Starcase. And that's like a traditional size that not only fits ARAH era G.I. Joes, but Kenner Star Wars, Mego 3 3/4 inch figures, Tonka Rock Lords. There's so many different figures that fit into this size. Also, additionally, MOC Masters, which is this case, MOC Masters is also making this size case now as well. And this one came from Justice Curry. You probably saw this figure in a previous video. And he sent them in these cases because he's got a little bit of a collaboration with the people that are manufacturing these. Just for reference, if you wanted to encapsulate any of yours to protect them. Now, next up, we're starting to move back a little bit here. This is Low Light. Low Light, one of my favorites when I was a kid. And this is the Sergeant Slaughter version. You see he's got the thing here for Sergeant Slaughter, and there's a little card behind him, a mail-away form that you fill out to send away for Sergeant Slaughter in the mail. And I want to say, what was this, 1985 Lowlight? Is that correct? Let me look here. Yeah, 1985 Hasbro for the Lowlight figure. And I always I like some of the earlier Joes better. They have a more of a military feel to them. The Japanese carded ones also had a little slip of paper in there for some kind of mail-off thing, but I don't know what it is, because they do have on the back some kind of flag point thing, and I'm glad that all the flag points are there on all of these figures, because I have seen, and the Fun School don't have flag points. No bonuses for you with Fun School, guys. Sorry. denied. I have seen carded G.I. Joe figures that are mint on the card, and the flag point is still cut off. And I'm like, who did that? Oh, that drives me nuts when I see that. It's heartbreaking to see a mint on the card G.I. Joe figure. And I know I'm real anal about it. I love my carded figures, so I love how the artwork pops and the history of it. You know, you get a real historical feel. But then there's a big chunk missing out of the figure of the box because somebody cut the card off. And I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. And you see that this was originally sold at Venture for $2.99. Can you imagine paying that much for these figures? Although when we were kids, we were probably like, $3. Oh man, if I got $3. Or where I grew up, it would have been $3.14. Because I grew up in the Boston area, and 5-cent sales tax. And this is another one, and that's Lionel, isn't it? The price tag, I think. Also $2.99. Cobra Commander Battle Armor version. Cobra Commander, the battle armored version, mint on the card. And this is we're approaching the Serpentor era here, because you've got, you know, Dr. Mindbender, and you've got other figures that they made figures but they never were on the cartoon, like Big Boa and Crystal Ball and people like this. And this is from 1986, the Armored Cobra Commander. You never saw Armored Cobra Commander in the cartoon either. I don't think so. In the Sunbow cartoon, I mean. If he ever appeared in the other one where they brought the show back, and you had characters like who is it? Hardball and figures like that, characters like that. That cartoon is not as good as the Sunbow, and we watched a couple of episodes and just had a hard time with it. And here is the Snake Eyes. I think this is what, version 3, and that would be 1988, mint on the card. This card's really nice. All of these are punched, but that's all right. Happy to get them anyways. And like I said, they're going to go right up on the figure wall here after I put them in the cases, except for the Frostbite, because the card is just too long. I have to get a different case for him. A lot of interesting figures in here. Stalker is a popular one. Stalker with the canoe, because he came with the canoe in the package. But codename Snake Eyes, Commando. And he has some kind of a slip of paper behind him as well. I'm not sure what mail away that's for. But this is what I picked up from Powder Springs just recently for the ARAH G.I. Joe collection. And I'm happy with it. Again, you know, slowly rebuilding. Like I say, it's a G.I. Joe journey. Slowly rebuilding my lost collection. You see how that just snaps right in there. That works really well. Hang these right up here. Put them with the rest of the family, if you will. And take good care of them. And hopefully I won't lose them this time, because that is not fun, ladies and gentlemen. To lose your collection is not cool. And I empathize with anyone who had any of their figures lost or stolen, or if they were forced to sell them. and they ended up going to some dealer and just basically getting ripped off or whatever. Came home from the army and found out that your parents sold them all at a garage sale for $30. That kind of stuff happens. You see, I'm just kind of fitting them right in there because I had the spaces for them already as the wall continues to fill up. So, thoughts? What do you think of those? Do you have any of these figures? Are you big on ARAH? And again, hopefully, I will be getting some more of the older figures soon, because I would really like to get some more Adventure Team and Fighting Man from the 60s and stuff like that. I like Super Joe too, but Super Joe is tough because the figures fall apart. The Muscle Body Adventure Team figures as well, the joints are terrible. And even like mint on the card examples of them, because they came on a blister card instead of in a box, the Muscle Bodies. They you see them with their arms down in the packages and stuff because the elbows and the knees and everything fall apart. So as much as I like the Super Joe also, as part of the whole history of G.I. Joe, if you will, they're hard to collect because they disintegrate, unfortunately. But thoughts? Let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section down below. Please do give the video a thumbs up if you got something out of it. I hope that you did. Are you liking the G.I. Joe Journey videos? Let me know what your thoughts are. And if that's it, then what more can I say? But thanks for watching, and we will see you again soon.